soulmates, I'm Precious. Welcome to our online tutorials for beginners here on Precious Apparel. Have you added somebody? Have you invited somebody? Hope you're not learning alone. Feel free to add your friends, your family, or your anybody that is just interested in fashion designing. So today we'll be learning our basic bodice block, how to draft or how to cut our basic bodice block. So if you missed the first video on how to take measurement, please just scroll through, or I'll be putting the link up. So you need to watch the first video on how to take your accurate body measurement so that you can apply those techniques to your basic bodice block. Okay, I'll be showing us the tools we need. After watching this fabric, you want to run to the market and get yours and make yours also, your practicals, and send it. Mind you, you will upload your practicals on the comment section. I'll be there to do corrections and all. Thank you. So I'll show us the materials we need now. Alright, to cut your or draft your basic bodice block, you need a pair of brown paper or a roll like this. You can get it in the market. You need a tack pin just to hold your papers down. You also need pins. These are office pins. You need markers, biro, scissors. Yes, you want to be sure the scissors you use to cut your papers is not the same as the one you use to cut your fabric. It spoils the scissors if you use the one for your paper on your fabric. So you need French curves as well. I have two of them. I just love to work with the both of them. So this is my French curve. Now you need a paper like this or a book. You should have written out your measurements. Now don't forget to get someone to take these measurements for you. They are very important. Don't take them yourselves, please. You need someone to take it for you. You need your length. Make sure you also add your accurate measurements to where I added mine here. So you need the length of your bodice block. You need the half length, the waist, the bust point, in other words your shoulder to nipple. You need your bust palm, nipple to nipple, that's in other words, which is 8 inches. You need your shoulder measurement, which is 16. Now you're going to be dividing every other measurement into 4 except your bust point, that's your shoulder to nipple, your nipple to nipple, and your shoulder. The shoulder will be divided into 2, while the bust pan will also be divided into 2. Your shoulder to nipple here, this measurement, you don't divide it, it's just there. So we'll take it from our shoulder line. Now let's cut our paper. So this is our paper. Let's assume, I'm only saying fabric because I'm used to cutting fabrics. Okay, let's assume this is our fabric. So to know the actual amount of fabric to put on fold, that way you want to conserve your fabric, you don't want to use too much of it. You just need your hip measurement divided by 4. Then you add 2 inches seam allowance. So when I've known that now, I'm just going to use my tack pin to hold the rest of the paper down. So you always want to keep your measurements around you. Now I've used the tack pin to hold the edges. I'm going to mark a starting point line. Mind you, this is a guideline. Most times if it's on our fabric, it is where those labels are. So I don't like to have them. So we'll mark it out. Let's just assume, like I told you, I'm used to working with fabric. So I'm just going to assume this is one of the fabric I'm working with. So this line here will be our shoulder line. Now the next line to mark is our shoulder to nipple point, which is our bust point. Mine is 10. I'm not adding anything to it. I'm just marking 10 from my shoulder line down to the bust point. Then the half length. If you don't know how to get your half length, because you need it accurately for that purpose, you need to take your shoulder to under bust and add 3 inches to it. That will be your half length measurement, and you'll be putting your half length measurement on your waistline. So this is 24, the length of our bodice block. I'll add 1 inch to it as my seam allowance. So if you're working with your lining, you can just feel free to add 1.5 or 2 inches. It just depends. Now I'll connect the lines. Okay, so I'm just going to write what these lines are for so it doesn't get confusing. This will be our shoulder line. Here will be our bust points. Here our waistline slash half length, because that is where we'll be putting our measurements, our waist measurement. Here is the hip line, and here is the seam allowance. Now I'm going to mark out our neckline and shoulder slope, then we'll continue with the rest of the measurement. So for the neckline, I'm just going to use 3 by 3. Is optional, just for instance, because of what we're doing, that is why I'm using 3 by 3. So this is what I'll do. I'll connect the lines like so. The French curve just makes it easy for you to get your lines accurately and straight or curved. Now I'll come down by 1 inch from the shoulder slope. After I am down there, I will just mark my shoulder measurement, which is 16 divided by 2, 8. Now I'll connect the line from my shoulder slope to the neckline like this. When you're done with this, we want to get our chest line. On our chest line is where the armhole or our arm side will be. So what I'll do is this. I'm going to divide my bust measurements into 6. So the bust I'm working with is 36. If I divide 36 into 6, I'll get 6 inches. Now I'll come down with my 6 and add 2 inches to it. That will be 8. You can add 2 or 1.5, but I prefer to work with 2 inches. So I'll add 2 inches to it. It will be 8. So my chest line is 8 inches from my shoulder slope. From my shoulder slope, please take note. So I'm just going to mark my 8 inches here, and then I'll connect the line as well. So this is my chest line. So be sure to do yours and get your chest line as well. So I'll mark my shoulder here because I want a straight line from my shoulder line to the chest line, because that is where we'll put the armhole. So I'm just going to connect it like so. Now we're done. Let's come down to our darts. To get your dart measurement, you want to come down from your bust point by 1 inch, or from your chest line you come down by 12 inches. So it's either you're coming down by 1 inch or you're coming down by 12 inches. 12 inches is for freehand. In freehand method we use 12 inches. So I'm just going to go with my 12 inches. Then the reason why we need our bust span measurement, like I said, is to get the darts accurately. So my bust span is 8 inches. If I divide 8 into 2, that will be 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark my 4 inches from my dart starting point on the waistline and the hip line and all the way to my seam allowance here like so. And I will just connect the line here with my French curve. Now we also have an end point for the dart, so you don't assume your dart will go all the way down. So from your accurate, like from the length, you can go in by 2 inches, or from the shoulder you can stop at 22 inches. You can see it's still rhyming. So that is the end point of our dart. Now you just want to open up the dart by ½ inch on both sides like this, and then you make a triangle line. Just open it up like this. You want to be sure your darts are accurate because it helps us to avoid folding, and it also gives perfect fitting. So I'm just going to continue like this. Open up my darts like so. Okay, now we're done with our darts. We're done with our darts. What I will do now is on my chest line, that is where I'll be putting my round bust circumference. So the bust circumference, the bust I'm working with is 36. If I divide it into 4, I'll get 9. The waist we are working with is 28. If we divide it into 4, that will be 7. I know you'll be wondering why we've not added seam allowance because of the darts. We'll go in there. The hip we're working with is 36 also. If we divide it into 4, we'll get 9. So now we have seam allowance guiding this. I'm going to teach you both ways. Like in pattern drafting, you add ½ inch, 1 inch here, and ½ inch. But in freehand method, we add 2 inches here to the bust, 2.5 to the waist, and 2 for the hip for the seam allowance. This seam allowance is, take for instance, you're turning with lining, you take half inch, then you'll be left with 1.5 as your seam allowance. Here, by the time you hold in your dart, you'd have minus 1 inch from here. You also be left with 1.5, and the same thing to the hip too. When you turn in with your line, you'll be left with 1.5. And we leave allowances on our clothes just in case you feel you want to loosen it, or if there's a mistake or you want to adjust it. You know, it is very important. So now we'll connect the lines like so on our seam allowance. Now, because we're not straight, we're curved, so we just want to eliminate these points. Then I'm just going to give it like a little bit of curve there. So this is it. Now we'll come to our armhole. You measure from your shoulder slope down to your mid armhole. From my shoulder slope to my chest line, I have 8 inches, so my mid armhole will be 4 inches. So whatever you get from here to your shoulder slope to your chest line, you want to divide it into 2. So, and come in by ½ inch and stop there. Now you go in with your French curve like this. The front is always in by half, like it goes in by ½ inch, so that it gives perfect fitting to the front of your garment. You know, you can raise your hands. It also gives you ease to do all that. Raise your hands and fitting. You don't have any puff in front of your garment or your clothes. So this is the front. I'm going to mark for the back as well, because we'll be using the front pattern to cut the back. So the back does not, you don't go in, you just measure the back like so. So this is our back pattern for the armhole, and this here is our front. So this is it for our front block. Then we're going to cut the back now. I'll cut this one out and we'll cut the back. Tips for cutting as a beginner: when you're cutting, even on your fabric, you don't want to hold it up like this and cut. It doesn't make the fabric balance after cutting. So this is what you do: you just place your hands like this on your fabric, use your hands to secure it, and then you cut. It is easier and always accurate. So that's one tip for cutting. Don't miss that. Okay, so this is our front block. You can see I didn't shape the armhole in because I'm going to use this front to cut out the back. Then when we cut out the back, then I can shape it. So if I open it up, this is what it looks like. So when you want to submit your practical, I hope to see something like this. The dart, you can either cut it out, or if you leave it, that means you want to sew it in. So this is our front block bodice. So I would use it to cut the back. Okay, so I've put the paper on fold. I'm going to, for the back, the only thing I'm just going to do here is mark out the zipper allowance. Now the zipper allowance, talking about that, I don't really like to add too much allowance to the zipper because it doesn't really do anything. It's just there, it doesn't add or it doesn't reduce. I prefer the lesser the better. So I'm just using 1 inch for this, and I'm going to connect the line. Okay, so this is our zipper, and we're also going to place the front bodice block like this and secure it also with a pin. So ladies, if you notice, I've put the front on the already folded back pattern. You can see I started after my zipper allowance, not before, after. So what I'll do here now is just to mark out the neckline. Remember, so the neckline will be using, the depth of the neckline will be 1 inch. So you just mark your 1 inch. Your neckline is the only measurement that is allowed to go out or into your zipper allowance like this. Then we'll connect our neckline from here all the way. So I'm just going to be using my curve as a guide to do that. So this is it, our neckline. Yes, so we've gotten the neckline here. So what we'll do next is to trace it. Cutting out the back is actually easier for me But all I need to do is to trace it and mark out my important points. So this is what I'll do. I'll just trace my back pattern, my front pattern on the back, and I'll mark out the important lines like my waistline, my hip line, my bust points, and my chest line. So when I've marked all that, I'll take it off, and you see. So when I take it off now, so that I won't forget, I'll shape out the armhole. Remember how I told you to cut. You don't raise up, just place your hands and cut. And don't forget, have a separate scissors for your papers or your patterns. Okay, all right. So this is our front now, and this is the back. So this is what I'll do. Since I've marked out the important points, I just need to transfer it to the back like so. Just marked our chest line. Now I'm marking our bust points, our waist, and the hip line. Okay, so for the back that starts from 9 inches. So you come down from 9 inches, like from your shoulder to 9. So this is it here. It's exactly on the chest line, and stop at 22 inches here. That's the end point of the dart. Remember, we opened it up by 4, so you want to mark the 4 all the way down, and then you connect the line. Yes, you connect the lines like this. You want to be very sure of your back dart, so because it's very important. That is why I said you need to get your accurate half length or your waistline, so that you avoid puffing at the back. Now we open up our darts also at the back by ½ inch, so you want to be very sure as well. And then we'll connect it to our chest line like this, and down also. Okay, so this is our dart and the back. So now it's easy. What we just need to do is cut it out. Cutting, you just place your hands on it like this. You don't need to raise it up and cut. Okay, so now that we've cut out our back, you need to open your darts, your zipper allowance. So you need to notch it. Notches are very important, so you just notch your zipper allowance so that you would know that, okay, that is where I have my zipper allowance, and then I'll slash it open. Remember, if you're cutting your fabric, it should also be on fold into two. So this is the back bodice block. Yes, this is our back bodice block, both sides. This is it, and this is the front. So you can see our front on our back bodice block. So that's the back, and this is the front. So this is it, ladies. So ladies, when you're submitting your practicals, this is what I expect to see. So this is the front, and this is the back. Thank you, ladies. I hope you enjoyed our tutorial. We'd like to hear from you what you think, any suggestion, any contributions, and any questions. Don't forget to like our subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram at Precious Apparel, and also like our page at Precious Apparel by Precious Omfriogomieno. I hope to see you at the top, and I hope to see your practicals also. Thank you. Bye.